Welcome back to Blind Item Breakdown. Our first item is about Kylie Jenner and Timothée Chalamet. It reads, this reality star with the lucrative side gig has always said she hated that she got her breasts done, but then she was recently again getting them done. Did the meme actor request it? Wait, this is such a weird blind item. So they're suggesting that Timothée may have asked Kylie to go and upgrade because he wants that. This commenter writes, nah, her gross mom made her do it. Mr. Newton writes, any bigger and she's gonna have a hard time standing upright. NT added that pimp Mama Chris probably insisted on the first set. Bunny Rabbit wrote, he looked like he'd be afraid of breasts. Now, we don't know what Timmy is into behind closed doors, but Kylie has spoken about having surgery in the past, which finally a Kardashian admitting to some cosmetic surgery. She's actually said publicly in the past that she wished she'd never had gotten them done to begin with. Also adding that she recommends that anyone thinking about doing it, wait until after you have kids. Kylie said, I always remembered being the most confident kid in the room. I always loved myself. I still love myself, and one of the biggest misconceptions about me is that I was this insecure child, so I got so much surgery to change my whole face. Recently, I've noticed that Kris Jenner definitely had something done to her face, like a facelift or something, because she looks different. So really, this family must go to the plastic surgeon like more than they go to like the dentist or any other doctor. And they're not shy when they get new things done. I mean, Kris has been showing off her new hairstyle to accompany her facelift. When Kylie got her new, you know what, she was showing those off as well. I mean, good for her, but the delusion is what gets me. It's a miracle that I still have confidence, she said, and I can still look in the mirror and think I'm pretty. People have been talking about my looks since I was 12, 13 years old, even before I got lip filler. Again, she's trying to say that all she's done is a little bit of lip filler. Okay. Nobody's buying that, but I also can recognize that she must have something, you know, in her brain that's a little bit different than the normal person, or maybe similar to a child star, because being 12 or 13 years old and having people talk about your looks and remembering that and holding on to that, that's going to cause some trauma.
Kylie Jenner. Here's our before pictures. Now let's look at some after pictures. You can see she has a number of changes. There is a thinning of the nasal bridge, thinning of the entire dorsum. Also, the tip is more precise, more defined, smaller, and fits her face a little bit more. So I think this is a very reasonable, aesthetically attractive feature that she's achieved probably with rhinoplasty. As far as her lips, this is a significant change. If she has had, more than likely, is a lip lift as well as lip augmentation. So her lips are bigger, fuller, perhaps a little bit more fullness in the malar eminence, perhaps some filler in this area or fat transfer. The eyes, perhaps she's had an upper blepharoplasty and or an upper brow lift. Overall, I think I had some aesthetic improvements that are reasonably attractive.
Let's switch it over to Beyonce. This blind item reads, speaking of offspring, the mother of this A-list singer confirmed blind from years ago that the A-lister had a learning disability. Okay, why does that matter? I feel like ever since Kanye West tried to say that like Beyonce's children have some kind of disability, there's been a lot of focus on this, which I think is unnecessary. But it continues, it is also one of the reasons why she doesn't write her own songs. The whole music writing industry is so messy because usually artists don't write their own songs. They have at least a little bit of help. But as far as Beyonce, Nancy commented, I've posted this before, but when I worked at a radio station, one of my coworkers interviewed Beyonce and she was slow-witted. Another person adds that having a learning disability just means your brain is wired differently. As people mature, they often find workarounds to accomplish whatever they want to accomplish. Night's Music commented, there's a huge difference between a learning disability and the skills to overcome it using strategies because your brain is still smart, it just learns in a different way. And being unable to learn, period, some people just can't learn anything. Beyonce is apparently one of those people. It's not a simple learning disability for her, I don't think. Now, I am no doctor. I'm not going to go and say that like she has anything because, I mean, look at her. She's more accomplished than like any of us over here. So, you know, she's doing something right. This headline reads that Tina Knowles put daughters Beyonce and Solange in therapy as kids. She said, I started seeing the separation and I said, oh no. That is so interesting to think that these two went to therapy as children because they weren't really bonding as sisters. I've never really heard of that before. Comment below if you've ever heard of any like case like that. Here's the reality. Insurance companies often do not want to pay you. If you are injured in an accident, their job is to delay, deny, and underpay. And they get away with it when people don't know their rights. That's why you might need Morgan & Morgan. They are the biggest injury law firm in the country. They've secured billions of dollars for their clients, including a $12 million settlement in Florida, and that is 34 times what the insurance company originally offered. And unlike other firms, they don't just settle cases for quick cash. If the insurance company does not pay up, then Morgan & Morgan is happy to take them to court. And the best part, you don't pay anything unless they win your case. If you have been injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan and use my link forthepeople.com/Sloan or scan the QR code on the screen and you can file your claim right now. It takes minutes. You probably could finish one before the end of this video. The consultation is free. The process is simple. There's nothing to lose. Thank you, Morgan & Morgan, for sponsoring this video, and enjoy. When Beyonce and Solange were around the ages of 12 and 7, Beyonce's mother, Tina, took them to counseling together. She said, "My family was upset. Even Matthew, her ex-husband, and their father was not happy, and I probably wouldn't be either." But this article reports that the Knowles family held practices for their girl group at their house, and Solange, who is too young to be a member, still wanted to learn all the dance steps and be included. Other girls in the group would say mean things to Solange, and her mother had noticed that, and Beyonce wasn't defending her sister, so she decided to step in and put them into therapy. Tina grew up feeling that her mother loved her brother more than her and didn't want the same for her kids. In addition to counseling, she set aside one day a week to spend some one-on-one time with each daughter when their careers were especially taking off, which sounds actually pretty responsible. She says, "I wanted Beyonce to be sensitive to the fact that Solange had to deal with being a little bit in her shadow, and it made her way more sensitive and protective."
Don't jump me, but I think Beyonce is autistic. Autistic is some of the most smartest people and the most creative.
Yes, sir. You might have to go straight to the airport. I have no luggage. Well, it's better for you to go home than not have luggage. It's not. Where y'all coming out there? Well, somebody can send your luggage. But then I have to wait for 4 days before I get all my stuff. Well, it's either that or you're going to probably miss your flight.
I've seen this clip for years and I always thought, damn, she mean as hell. Like, why she took a fair like that? You know what I mean? But now that I'm thinking about it, she was literally just asking a question.
Who does the writing? Do you guys all do the writing? Do you guys all sit down together and be like, we want to work with this producer?
Yeah.
And so how does the whole group function? Because I mean, 4 girls together. Yeah. I mean, even if you feel like family, there's gotta be some people who are not agreeing with others. So
The fact that we've been on each other.
It's her stemming and rocking back and forth, and like immediately after answering the question, she went right back into her. You know, she rocking back and forth. She's stemming. She moving her hands. She just the body language. She's getting interviewed after winning her Grammys, and she's not making she's making some eye contact, but in order for her to talk, like most of us, we got to look away and not do eye contact to get our point across.
Important with that.
Well, the banjo has a deep history, and I just feel honored to reintroduce some of that history that I think has been lost, and very, very honored that I got the response and the open heart, and people welcomed the album.
Since we're on the topic of Beyonce, let's talk about this blind item. This former A-list singer is laying down the groundwork for an illness that she will have to end the tour and get insurance companies to pay out. Now, that is some smart learning disability. If that's a learning disability, I would love to have that one because, like, wait, what? Like, could you imagine? Because a lot of artists, like Justin Bieber, he had to pay like $20 million back when he canceled his tour. If Katy Perry, for example, can't sell tickets, she's gonna have to go and cancel her tour. But if Beyonce has the same problem, like running into that, which I do think she's a much better performer, I could see them trying to get away with maybe not paying for that tour, and maybe there's a clause within the insurance that if she does have some illness, some drastic illness, that they don't have to pay and insurance will pay for it. But this commentator is questioning her act, saying what made Beyonce and her people think that she could successfully pull off a crossover to country without even doing authentic country. Susie commented that Beyonce should regroup and do a residency in Vegas, which actually that sounds like great advice because it's reliable money. You could stay in a certain area. She could even just fly from Texas or LA and go to Vegas for a couple days and do her show, and people love to watch her perform. They would show up to Vegas for her. I mean, people are still showing up for Bruno Mars. But this new article reads that Beyonce's Cowboy Carter tickets now cost less than a Happy Meal, which if that's true, then that is great. Let's get ticket prices down low again. Everyone's still trying to make back their money from their Eras tour, trying to pay off that ticket, so I get it. And the Renaissance tour. I remember I saw her in Vegas, which it was a great show. Go to Vegas, Beyonce. But one user pointed out on Twitter that they found tickets for just $20, which is less than McDonald's limited time edition Minecraft meal. Due to its low demand, Beyonce's tour tickets are $20, cheaper than the $21.39. McDonald's is not even cheap anymore. Like going to McDonald's and stuff, I might as well go to a decent, like, not decent because we love McDonald's over here, but like I might as well go to a proper restaurant because you're paying about the same price. Does anyone else feel like they're being robbed by fast food? Like, comment below, is it just me? Another fan pointed out that some seats had dipped to $27 and then they went back up to $37. So they're fluctuating. It probably also depends on your cookies, right? The cookies you have in your computer. It's like when you go and buy a flight, like if you don't buy it right away, you're going to go back. It's going to be a few extra $100 and it just keeps adding up because of the data and those cookies. And I don't know. I don't want to eat cookies though. I'll pass on those. But if I were to, I would have a snickerdoodle. Anyways, fans quickly reminded everyone that Beyonce's Renaissance tour didn't sell out immediately. So there's still hope. You've got to keep in mind that she and Taylor Swift also like single-handedly like helped the economy. I remember seeing a report about this, but I think there's also an oversaturation here. Like we just had Beyonce's last tour and now she's on another tour. So I think that like people aren't just rushing to go and see her live unless they really, really love her.
Ticket prices for Beyonce's highly anticipated Cowboy Carter tour are dropping like a lot. Just months ago, a fan could expect to spend up to $800 for a pre-sale ticket to the opening night in the tour in Los Angeles. But hours before the concert, tickets had dipped to as low as $57. Prices are falling all over the country, too. In fact, right now, tickets for her Monday, July 14th show in Atlanta are starting at $85.
Our next blind item is about Jojo Siwa and her big brother boyfriend, Chris Hughes. This item reads, as always, this former child tween teen reality star turned adult celebrity wants to have kids with her brand new partner. This time, though, it may happen, and again, it would be a very bad idea. Now, I just saw that Jojo Siwa appeared on the Vial Files to talk about her messy breakup and the fact that she was cussed out at the Celebrity Big Brother after party by her partner for her behavior with Chris. This commenter writes, why do I feel like this is going to end in disaster? Another person added that that would be a very bad idea. Now, Kath, Jojo's partner, is non-binary, so we're going to respect their pronouns. And they posted a video onto social media kind of venting about what they had experienced with Jojo. It also looks like Kath is no longer following Jojo. It is absolutely over, which is really wild because it pretty much confirms everything we saw on reality television and we watched this relationship fall apart. You can't say that reality TV isn't real anymore, at least for Big Brother. But Kath said, keep in mind Jojo got paid like $400,000 for this appearance. So they definitely got their money's worth with her. But Kath said, I honestly feel so numbed out right now and disoriented that I feel like the only thing I have to do in this situation is finally address it after 2 weeks of sitting back and watching certain things unfold. Kath goes on to say that they were talking about like kids one day and getting married. And then she goes to watch Jojo go onto this show and pretty much fall in love with a man, which Kath is not a man. They're non-binary.
Before I could even get back to the hotel, I went to the after party with my, I guess now ex, and was dumped. The only thing I have to do is to finally address it after 2 weeks of watching certain things unfold and not being able to get any clarity, being told that I'm the love of someone's life, being asked to marry them before this social experiment, being adored throughout behind closed doors. I went to the live show to show up for my partner and then obviously later on address my feelings of like hurt and like work through them like all relationships do. I was told that there are confused feelings there and that they had realized in the house that I wasn't the person that they wanted to spend.
They both attended the after party for the show, but Kath was seen leaving the bash on their own after being dumped. They kept their head down and dressed in all black, almost like they were going to a funeral, getting into a taxi and leaving the venue alone. Meanwhile, Jojo looked to be on cloud nine as she celebrated with her co-stars, partying it up with Chris. In my opinion, we saw a little bit too much of Chris and Jojo in this season because it really focused on their relationship, which was fascinating. I understand why they aired it, but there were so many moments where they were so close and it was awkward because we all knew, like the elephant in the room, that Kath was outside the building waiting for Jojo. At one point, Chris even said in the house, I'd prepare for your girlfriend to throw some punches, to which Jojo replied, oh no, she won't care. Which again, wait, is Jojo just not even like acknowledging that Kath is non-binary?
I did what I would do to any of my friends in that situation. I'd say, hey, this is how it looks from the outside. you want to carry on, carry on. But fundamentally, their relationship is their personal business and not mine. I just know how I would have felt if my boyfriend would see me doing that, and I wouldn't want him to feel like that. So I was just making Jojo aware, this is how I'd feel if I was your girlfriend. Checking your friends. We all should check our friends. Other than that, that's their business.
While watching the show, a lot of fans were disgusted by JoJo's behavior, saying this feels like cheating. Why are people supporting this? She has a partner. Why is she cuddling with him in bed and letting him kiss her cheek? Kath must be suffering so much watching her girlfriend cheat on her on national television. In another telling moment, JoJo admitted, I think I'd feel a bit guilty for not missing home as much as I thought I would. I feel like if she could have stayed in the Big Brother house longer with Chris, she probably would have, especially being like who she is, with her mother putting her to work constantly ever since she was a child. She was probably so relieved to not have to be jumping around doing some karma dances and things like that. JoJo revealed that she thought everyone was going to hate her in the house, and she's so grateful for finishing in third. JoJo admitted, for me, I felt like the whole time at the house I was all in there, and then when I got the letter, my brain went running outside the house and I felt so disconnected. JoJo added, being away from everything you know and the super publicness of my life, I've always seen what people had to say about me and felt pressure. You can't hide it in there. You're down to your most vulnerable self, but now I'm terrified to watch.
I really realized things that I was okay with in my life that I should never have been okay with in the first place.
Your relationship.
And just so many things. That is one of them. He straight up asked me if I was happy, and I said no. And, you know, one thing led to another, and that conversation did take place there. There were countless things that I was like, that's not, you know, something that I should be okay with and I don't need to be okay with, and I'm not happy.
I think you can have like a soulmate friendship. I think that's a thing.
Yes.
And to me, it's like that energy of where it's not like the standard friendship that you have with your friends.
Are you glad to be home?
Can I be honest?
You're not? You'd rather have stayed there? What was your biggest takeaway from it?
Biggest takeaway? I thought it was incredible. I learned a lot about myself, and yeah, I think that I had a lot of things in my life that I wasn't happy about, and being there, it kind of forced me to change that, and that was good. It was good. I needed it.
It's an inspiring, neat, creative.
Oh, babe, everything. It's inspiring all.
Will you give him another chance?
Will I give what?
Give him another chance.
Give who another chance?
Big Brother. Will he be on the show again?
Oh, I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Now, this blind item scares me. This north of the border singer, Justin Bieber, has been skipping appointments with his doctors and not taking his meds. This comment reads, this goes without saying, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Another person writes, the king of self-medication and dark circles, Justin Bieber. Fancy Peacock wrote, he needs to get a grip already. While this person replied that he has to want it. He's so rich, no one can stop him from doing any sort of conservatorship. Cheyenne writes, as we suspected, people are willing to help him. He just won't take it. Salem writes, he is taking meds, just not the kind that he needs. I have a soft spot in my heart right now for Justin Bieber because I really feel like we're watching him fall apart, and I'm like, is there anything anyone can do? I mean, the paparazzi could leave him alone. That could, you know, give him a week off, a break for him to go and have some privacy, because right now he's being hounded by them, kind of like Britney Spears fashion. Here's a clip that Justin took on his own phone of the paparazzi swarming him.
Watch out, watch out. Come out. Hold it for him. This way, guys. Watch out, guys. Watch out, watch out.
Look at these guys, man. Look at these guys.
Guys, can you back up, please?
Now, for Haley, an insider says that she's been in tears about his behavior and things have gotten bad quickly. So, of course, it doesn't help that Justin also had a death in the family. His grandfather had passed away. We actually talk about this in length in yesterday's Let's Get Into It podcast episode, but we talk about how Justin reflected on their past, like going to hockey games and things like that before Justin was all big and famous. It seems like his grandfather was a big part of his life before his innocence was taken from him. Justin Bieber's grandfather made an appearance in both of his documentaries, and he would frequently attend concerts and events for his grandson. So he was very proud of him, and rest in peace to Justin's grandpa. Now, a news story reported on Justin Bieber early in his career and featured his grandfather, and here's a throwback clip.
Hi, Grandma.
Bye, sweetheart. Bye, sweetie.
Oh, yeah.
For teen pop star Justin Bieber, a visit home to Stratford, Ontario is becoming a rare thing.
I live in a suitcase. I travel so much.
We're always on the road. We are in hotels and living out of our suitcase on adventures.
A little more difficult for grandfather Bruce Dale, who really can't understand this world his darling grandson has brought to his doorstep.
I find it very hard to, you know, like, they're away, and I used to know what he was doing all the time. Now you never know.
Life's changed so dramatically for Justin. Are you worried for him?
No, Patty's. She is.
Oh my gosh, Grandpa's gonna have me in tears right now. The way that he's like so worried for his grandson and like crying and frightened. It's like, wait, what does Grandpa know? What does Grandpa know about the industry that we don't know yet? Let's get into Blake Lively. This blind item reads, Plantation Khaleesi, which is a wild name, would have run straight to court if the A-list actor-director had done what she did last night, alluding to the case and harmful men. I actually don't understand what Blake and Ryan Reynolds are doing right now because they are constantly making public appearances, and every time they do, people aren't happy about it. I've also noticed like random like YouTuber notice to people that you may not know. So when I like post a video, I can do hashtags within the descriptions, right? And typically when you do that, you do hashtag and you type in the name and it will auto populate with like similar hashtags that have been used, and it'll show how many videos have been posted with that hashtag and the channels associated with it. Anyways, what I've noticed is that Blake Lively's name has never really been able to do the hashtag thing, which to me shows that she's gotten into contact with like Google or YouTube and been able to remove that function from YouTube. So essentially like, or Google, to where like this hashtag can't be grouped together. So you can't find like a bunch of videos with her name. Well, Ryan's was never like that. Like you could type in hashtag Ryan Reynolds and it would load. I noticed like as of like last week, or at least my like last video, that you can't do hashtag Ryan Reynolds anymore. Which again, like what is this power that they have like on this platform? I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, but I wanted to bring it up. So sorry for the little side story. This commenter writes, Snake the Flake, Blake has no receipts. Another person adds, from where I sit, Blake just keeps looking worse and worse. Let her have her say. Nobody believes her at this point anyway. Oh God, remember when she grabbed her co-star in filming A Simple Favor right in the crotch and revealed that it was her idea? Pretty rich coming from someone who's suing their co-star for sexual harassment. Blake Lively admits that it was her idea to touch her co-star Henry Golding's private parts. Ew. One thing about Blake is that she hates to see a resurfaced old interview coming. It's every time we see a new clip, a new viral moment, it just makes her look so bad, and it also makes me question, where were we back then when she was saying these kind of things?
Not Blake Lively confessing to grabbing her co-star's nuts because she felt like that's just what her character would do.
Wait, so am I blaming my husband for
listening
to the
thing?
This
is one of my favorite additions that you came up with. I think it's nuts. And you really went for it too.
That's always awkward. You're like, hey, hi, nice to meet you. Can I grab your nuts? Like, really hard?
Really hard?
It's not because I want to, because I feel like she would.
Remember we kept going like, can you do it harder?
Yeah, and that was my tip of the hat to baby Jane Hudson.
Yes.
She's spinning on the beach at the end.
Oh, it's so great. Then we ADR'd a little extra, like, the little laughs and stuff. It's fantastic.
It's an aviation American gin again?
Wow.
Shameless.
Oh my God. I want dividends.
Blake, sweetie, where was the intimacy coordinator? Was there one? Doubtful. Because Paul Feig is sitting there kiki and talking about, yeah, can you do it again, but a little harder? The word improvise comes up 5 times in the timeline of relevant events, and they all involve Blake Lively accusing Justin of improvising scenes. She improvised grabbing Henry Golden by the balls.
Now, of course, people are eating up Blake online. Teresa wrote that she is one disgusting human. Another person adds, gotta love equality. Any man would be canceled forever, probably in jail, and she acts like it's no big deal. Henry was asked about how it was reuniting with Blake Lively for the sequel for Another Simple Favor. He responded, I mean, it's the best. Paul, the director, the ladies, what could go wrong? Please don't even ask that question, Henry. You don't want to know the answer. Every time I see a Britney Spears blind item, my stomach sinks. This one reads, a recent ex of the permanent A-list singer says she was a paycheck when they were together and that she is a paycheck now, and that is all it ever was. He was hired to do a job. Like, I guess, play pretend as her boyfriend. Carol commented, that says a lot about Sam. Another person writes that he looks like a weird escort. Lark commented that I think Sam genuinely liked Britney, but when the conservatorship ended and she went off her meds, it got too hard. Johnny writes that this situation is like a slow motion car wreck. Now, I can't stand Sam Asghari. Let's talk about this moment he had on the red carpet. He talks about his relationship with Britney. He called their union Hollywood, while also saying that his 4-month-long relationship with Brooke Irvine was all about love, as the pair made their red carpet debut. He said it's not about the industry, it's not about Hollywood, talking about his new relationship. It's about what really is the most important thing, that is being present, being in the moment, and supporting others. He has spoken about his relationship and his marriage to Britney, saying that it was strange for him to deal with. He claims that Britney never even explained the conservatorship to him. He said, somebody called me and said, oh, just so you know, this is this, and make sure you're obeying by our rules and stuff like that. After the phone call with the unnamed member of Britney's team, Sam said that he didn't run to tell Britney right away. Weird you wouldn't go and tell your girlfriend that one of the team members there got your number and then reached out to give you the lowdown on the conservatorship. He said, I really tried to understand it. I tried to understand why the conservatorship was ever in place to begin with. He was also afraid of losing Britney. He said, I was afraid that they were going to make me not see her and things like that, claiming that you have to be gentle and provide support. So sounds like he was like complicit, like kind of like a handler almost, in my opinion. I mean, because if you're going to just sit there and watch her in devastation and kind of know information without telling her, what does that make you?
Is it hard for you to have people always wanting to talk about Britney? Does it put you in an uncomfortable position?
It's really weird not to speak about something that was in such a big public eye. And
Well, then here we go. Did the end of the conservatorship play any role in your split? Is there any misconceptions that you'd ever want to clear up about the breakup?
private life is private life.
But should people be worried about her?
I mean,
Let's talk about the Cyrus family. They're so messy. This blind item reads, there are cameras following the three named singer and his foreign-born celebrity girlfriend. I smell reality show. That is something that the Cyrus family definitely does not need, especially with how unstable Billy is. This comment reads, oh, that's why Liz Hurley and Billy Ray Cyrus are suddenly together and Instagram official. And honestly, it's moving faster than just Instagram official. There's a report from a couple days ago that Liz could marry Billy. The pair first met in 2022 playing romantic leads on a movie, Christmas in Paradise. But it turns out that they reconnected last year when he turned to the actress and model for help as his third marriage crumbled. Shout out to Firestone? I think it's Fire Rose. She was an absolute mess. And now pals say that Liz and Billy have grown closer in recent months, with the actress unable to resist his charm. They have a lot in common and they have the same interests. Billy is also very much her type. He has a real twinkle in his eye and a naughty streak that she can't resist. Ew, Liz, calm it down. Liz has a trouble of dating troubled men, including Hugh Grant and Shane Warne. Although Liz is aware that Billy's not perfect, she's determined to follow her heart and sees a real future with him. It really sounds like Liz is just saying F it. This insider says she's nearly 60 and deep down she does want to share her life with someone and settle down. Everyone is saying that he could be the one, so don't be surprised if she marries again.
Smitten, Billy Ray Cyrus has broken his silence on his shock romance with Elizabeth Hurley and also revealed who made the first move, and you might be surprised. The legendary star revealed how he found love again with the Austin Powers star following his messy divorce with Fire Rose last year. Speaking on Apple Music's country show, Billy Ray said, I felt like, wow, can life get any harder? Can it get any tougher? For me, at a certain point, it was like, you can't get knocked down any flatter than lying on your back when life is kicking you. And in this moment, a friend reached out. He continued, so I text back, I go, who is this? And it's like, Elizabeth Hurley. Despite not seeing each other for 2 years after filming for Christmas in Paradise rap, the pair had instant chemistry. Continuing to talk about his new love, a smitten Billy Ray said, she's so impressively brilliant. She reminds me a lot of Dolly Parton. She's a very smart businesswoman. If you can laugh together, you can make it through everything.
Now, I want to take it back to Blake Lively because we saw some bizarre internet traction this week between Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, and Ryan Reynolds. What a group. Could you imagine sitting at a table with all of them? This blind item reads, as I have reportedly told you, do not believe the hype the A-list actress puts out there. She leaks that she and the A-list singer are still besties and that the A-list singer is grateful to have a friend like the actress. So Taylor's grateful to have a friend like Blake? Make that make sense. Yeah, so why did the boyfriend of the A-list singer stop following the actress and her husband? This commenter writes that Taylor is mad that she has to go and testify, which she does not want to do. This is probably the most serious thing she's had to do in her entire life, and she has zero control over the narrative. So it seems like Taylor's trying to prepare for this trial, and she doesn't want to be heavily involved in it, so having her boyfriend disconnect from these two is probably a great move. Another comment reads, maybe he is a knob and wanted to get in on the action for attention. Abby Rock commented that this sounds like high school lunchroom drama. Morning Glory has a theory, writing that Ryan slid into Travis's DMs to try to get him and Taylor to show up to the New York premiere. Taylor won't answer her phone, and maybe she's even changed her number. Travis is like, F this drama. Taylor has been in New York. She went to Gigi's birthday party. It must be killing Blake. Ryan may have even tried to get on his podcast. Now, I actually think this is a good sign for Taylor's relationship in a bad sign for Blake and Taylor's friendship. Now, I don't know if Travis is doing this because he wants to get headlines on his own, but if he's not, it's a nice move that he's going and disconnecting from these people who have done his girlfriend dirty. What's weird is that Ryan is still following Travis, even though he has unfollowed him. And it all stems from this Kelce moment where Blake threatened to use her dragon, Taylor Swift, on Justin Baldoni. I don't think there's anyone in the world who would be happy with their friend trying to leverage their power to get something they want in the workplace. Like, keep in mind, we're filming a movie here, but it's still work. It's still production. There's still certain standards that need to be met. So good for Travis for like unfollowing Ryan, because Ryan needs to get off of his high horse.
Travis Kelce unfollowing Ryan Reynolds makes it clear that all the theories about Ryan Reynolds are true. Because if you think about it as like your boyfriend and you are like talking about all of these issues, and maybe Ryan is like asking you guys to do things and getting involved, like that's why you unfollow him, right? Because he's somehow injecting himself in this in a way that the boyfriend goes, well, what is he doing? And is like pissed off about it. And I feel like Ryan had to do something, ask for something, send something, really inject himself in a way that really pissed off Travis. That was like, hey, like he doesn't have your back. Like this guy's not good news. So I feel like that one move, this is just my guess, like validates all the theories about Ryan really being kind of the mastermind here behind these things.
Now, this blind item is about Kim Kardashian and her upcoming trial in Paris. It wasn't the A-list reality star's upcoming testimony at trial that got the criminal killed. It was something he had dug up on the wife of the leader of the country and was trying to sell. Okay, Kim, I would probably like back away slowly because these guys sound like criminal masterminds. I mean, really, how does a main suspect suddenly die before the trial? And it's not like he had cancer or some illness that was leading up to him dying. His name's Marcel. And yeah, he was 72 years old, but he wasn't ready to go yet. He was actually responsible for finding the buyers of the jewelry. So he was the guy that was going to go and do the shady deals. Before his death, he had been convicted 11 times for receiving stolen goods and counterfeiting money, while also being linked to jewelry heists and other violent crimes. In 2011, he was sentenced to 4 years in prison for aggravated theft of around $7 million worth of diamonds. So he's not like some petty criminal. He's doing really high crime. Detectives are meanwhile furious that the Kardashian trial has taken so long to get to court, saying that all those responsible for the raid could have been tried and convicted in 2017. Kim's lawyer Michael said that we can confirm that Kim will be testifying in person at the upcoming trial involving the 2016 incident, which I really hope they can bring the show there because that would be great for TV.
I'm looking to see how this court case is conducted. As I said earlier, court cases in France are very different than that of America. It's more of an inquisitorial aspect where the judge is actually asking questions of the witnesses and of both the prosecution and the defense, or the equivalents in France. And so I'm looking to see how the judge handles this case. What are they going to require of Kim Kardashian in terms of the testimony that she receives, and what other facts we're going to learn from these quote-unquote grandpa robbers, because at least 5 of the 10 who committed or allegedly committed this crime are anywhere from 60 to 70 years old.
Wow. And one of the suspects actually died before the trial could even get off the ground. So how will that impact the case?
Well, this is one thing I didn't have to learn about in French law. It's the same thing in America. It's called an abatement by death. So the person who was actually charged with the crime and died in the process of that, their case is dismissed. But if any facts or information tie them towards this individual, of course, that person can't take the stand themselves in their own defense. Other evidence might not be applicable, but the other defendants is all pretty much the same for them. We still have 10 defendants facing charges, and that person being deceased doesn't really change their case in any major way. We've already heard publicly, she said that she is very thankful to the Parisian court system. They've been handling this case very well, even though it's taken almost a decade to go to trial for various different reasons. In French courts, there are a lot less oral arguments or a lot less oral testimony as we see in American courts, but she will be the star witness in many ways. One, because she's Kim Kardashian, and two, because she is the alleged victim in this case.
Let's talk about Jared Leto. This blind item reads, the number of people speaking out about the fired comic universe villain is growing every day. At some point, it is all going to catch up with him. It will soon be awful. We've covered Jared before on this channel. You guys should definitely go and check out that video. He gives me like cult leader, like narcissist on the max. This comment reads, could see this one coming a mile away. Looks like Jared accusers were waiting until his career and earnings had peaked, and now he's on the downward slide. Now, this headline isn't a great look. Jared Leto labeled Hollywood's most persistent predator. Allie, a 31-year-old American DJ, music producer, and model, wow, she's doing all of that, have explosive allegations against Jared. She claims that her interactions with Jared went down in 2012 when she was really young. Emboldened by the expose, a lot of women and girls, some as young as 14, have shared their accounts with Jared. Allie's words went massively viral, and other people came forward talking about the pattern of grooming going on in Hollywood. Allie said, you're not really in LA until Jared Leto tries to force himself onto you. Allie was seemingly motivated to share her experience after hearing from an anonymous underage girl who allegedly was approached by Jared recently. One person shared, a girl from her high school had an older sister who was 18, who was a model in LA. She spent the summer with her when we were 15. She came back with stories about hanging out with the Olsen twins and making out with Jared, and she had pics to prove it. Here's a screenshot of a message. This is so insane. One can only imagine the actual amount of young girls he's been chasing. I live in Finland and I've heard of not one but two Finnish girls very young that he was in touch with. Another person writes, obsessed with your Jared takedown. When I was a teen, Brent Bolthouse used to throw parties for Jared at his house for his birthday, and they would shuttle you up the hill to that place that looked over Universal Studios. It would be a sea of very young women.
This post from 2008 starts going viral on the internet. This girl alleges that she met Jared when she was barely 17 years old and that they started being physical. For very obvious reasons, I'm not going to show the entire post here, but I will paraphrase and then I'll show you another screenshot. She basically says that he was aggressive. There was a lot of restraining, choking. She alleged that despite her being in pain constantly, he wouldn't do anything about it, even when she asked him to. This is how she ends her post. You can pause to read it. Basically, she says that she thinks that in his mind, he thought he was doing the R word. Okay, 2014, former adult film star Vicky Marie Jones comes forward and says that in 2002, she was partying with Jared and his brother. She gave them each a dance of the lap kind. She started with Jared, then went on to his brother, and that while she was dancing on his brother, Jared pretty much came up from behind her and restrained her from the neck. He then went on to whisper some real nasty stuff in her ear.
Others went on to further describe being part of the Bolthouse list, composed in a large part of underage girls selected by the producer to attend these private parties for Jared and his male friends. It kind of sounds like a Diddy situation. One person said, I can confirm that I was on the Bolthouse list and I was invited to the parties, which I attended as a teenager. It had open bars and only girls were invited. The only men there would be Jared, his brother, and party staff. Another person shared that I went on a few dates with Jared when I was 16 and he was in Colorado shooting a movie. This was in 1996, so might have been before things got weird with him. In 2018, Dylan Sprouse from Zach and Cody tweeted Jared asking, yo, Jared Leto, now that you've slid into the DMs of every female model aged 18 to 25, what would you say your success rate is? And that's crazy watching like this Disney, star call out Jared. Filmmaker James Gunn replied soon after, hinting at Jared's targeting of minors, saying he starts at 18 on the internet? ? These allegations about Jared have been coming out for years and years, but it seems like Allie may be the end to his ability to dodge these stories. It sounds like he's going down for good. Jared has not publicly responded to Allie's posts or the new allegations circulating online, and his representatives are staying quiet. Of course they are. This comment reads, can we get him officially? How many years are those men allowed to be in the wild and hurt women and children before they get caught? Another person adds, he's in everyone's Me Too lottery, even during the early days. Why is he still unscathed? Bougie Goth commented, everyone in Hollywood knew this years ago. He would roll up in an old beat up black Suburban or something like that and creep on girls at the club. And then finally, and yet for years and years, almost no one talked about this. A typical example of beauty privilege. Now, I don't know if it's beauty privilege. I didn't think Jared is that beautiful. I actually don't really think he's attractive at all, but I do think that he is creepy. And I want to hear what you guys think of this episode of Blinded and Breakdown. What was the most insane item that we went through? I'm still shook that Timmy may have requested for Kylie to get a new rack, but I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you in next week's episode. Bye, guys.